Welcome to the Drum Set Shrink podcast. My name is Stefano Ashbridge, and this is a show about drummers, drumming, and the challenges that come with playing the drums. If you are planning to buy your first drum set, either for yourself or for your child, I'm guessing you don't want to become a drum historian. You just want a good set at a fair price. Here are the basics of what you need to know to make an informed buying decision. I'm going to include in the show notes a link to an article that has pictures and descriptions that will help you make your buying decision. You can find that at drumlessonsinla.blog/buying your first drum set. The basic drums that you need are a bass drum with a bass drum pedal, a snare drum with a snare stand, tom-toms that can be mounted on a stand or mounted on the bass drum, and floor toms, which usually have legs that allow them to stand on the floor. You can find acoustic drum sets with different amounts of drums and cymbals, but the 5-piece, which includes the drums that I mentioned, is the industry average. As far as the toms and floor toms go, you can get started with 1, 2, or even no toms. The drum heads that go on the drums are tunable with a drum key and will wear out over time. One of the best ways to improve a drum sound is to put some new high-quality drum heads on it and tune it up. The 3 cymbals that you need are hi-hats, a crash, and a ride, each with a stand to mount them. The hi-hats are 2 cymbals both mounted onto the hi-hat stand, which is attached to a pedal by which you can play the cymbals. You will also need a stool, usually called a throne, to sit on, and some drumsticks to get started. The individual pieces of the drum set come in varying sizes, both in length and diameter. The larger the drum, the lower its standard pitch. The average diameters for each of the drums are as follows: the bass drum, 22 inches, snare drum, 14 inches, toms, 10, 12, and 14 inches, hi-hats are usually 14 inches, crashes are anywhere from 16 to 18 inches, and the ride cymbal is usually 20 inches. These sizes will vary from drum set to drum set. These are just general sizes. If you're buying a drum set for a small child, the sizes of each piece just needs to be small enough so that he or she can reach everything comfortably. Most drum set manufacturers also have a child-sized drum set available. An alternative to an acoustic drum set would be to purchase an electric drum set, which consists of the same basic setup, but what is struck is usually rubber pads or mesh heads that trigger the drum sound electronically. The advantage of this would be that you can play using headphones and cut down the volume considerably. Electric drum sets are usually a little more expensive than acoustic ones, but are somewhat comparatively priced. So let's talk money. How much will all of this cost? It's difficult to give exact figures, but most major drum set manufacturers offer beginner, intermediate, and professional models of their drum sets. The main differences in cost between the 3 are mainly due to the materials that the drums are made of. To give you some rough ballpark figures, I would say you can get a beginner drum set starting at around $500, an intermediate one at around $800 to $1,200, and a top-of-the-line drum set from anywhere around $2,000 to $5,000. Some well-known and trusted acoustic drum companies would be Tama, Pearl, Yamaha, Ludwig, DW, Gretsch, and Mapix. Some electric drum companies are Roland and Alesis. You can also get good deals on used sets from garage sales or pawn shops, although if you buy a set from a retail store, you can usually take it back if there's anything wrong with it. If you're buying used, make sure there are no cracks in the cymbals. If there are clear see-through drum heads on the drums, check to make sure that there are no nicks or dents in the bearing edges of the drum. That's where the wood touches the drum head. Check that all the tension rods, the screws that tighten down the drum heads, are there. Also make sure that the bass drum has 2 support rods that stick out of the bottom to keep it stable. If you can, take the drums off of the stands and inspect both to see that everything loosens and tightens properly. Make sure that you have everything you need. Sometimes the stands and cymbals are sold separately from the drums. I hope this information helps you when buying your drum set. Feel free to get in touch if you have any questions about a drum set that you're considering. I would be glad to help. Thanks for listening. You can find me at drumlessonsinla.com. My name is Stefano Ashbridge. Until next time.